But the ice, when the ice was at its maximum for so long, there are continents that stood for, that there were continents now that are underwater now. Polynesia, Indonesia, Caribbean, and so on. And before 200,000, the Mediterranean basin, it took, I think it was I'm not sure, it was a combination of the melting of a glacial age, or a small melt, and the parting of Europe from Africa at the Pillars of Hercules, where Hercules pushes them apart. You see? That's the legend. That's kind of where it comes from, right? But, and then there was a great waterfall that filled the Mediterranean, so what's down there? But then again, at 6,000, it came up again. And it would have come up in 12,800 too. And Plato doesn't mention, or nor do the Egyptians. But they do mention that the water came up, but do they mention, does it come up to where, around Greece? What in Greece was lost? Well, I imagine there are some stories, and of course, the kingdom of the realm of Poseidon is under the sea. So anyways, I better stop this. It's too much fun for me. This is what I've been meant to be doing my whole life. Now I understand, why I've learned all the things I've learned. Why, I've learned to see things with clarity. Because when you have things, when you own things, well, now I have to be concerned with material things to get my move done. But when you own things, your mind can't be clear. And when attachments are suffering, as the Buddha says. And Gerald Manley Hopkins, I am what Christ was. I can't how he goes. I don't mean that to be presumptuous at all, but it was about a shard of diamond breaking. I can't remember the line. But the nature is a Heraclitean fire. Nature is a Heraclitean fire. This is why I want someone to go study the School of Epicurus library in Athens and find the Heraclitus that Christians destroyed. And I want to know what happened when during the iconoclasty in Upper Chaldea. I think maybe they may have survived. And certainly the Hermes Trismegistus survived. But there would be other writings by Hermes, and who knows who else, in the great vaults beneath the Temple of the Seven Planets that have never been excavated. Maybe fully destroyed by the Mongols, but I'm hoping there's something under there. So if any millionaire out there hears me, or any academic who goes, hey, you know what? I think you're right. I don't have the means to deal with the Turkish government or get the money or the crews or deal with the professional archaeologists, but I think there's something under there. I think there's a lot of things in a lot of places that we just haven't looked for, like underneath the Caucasus for the city of Kaf. I mentioned it in another video, or on this one also. In the New Earth video, she has this megalithic hole. It's obviously should be an air shaft or something much larger further down. Much larger. And there's a legend of the city of Kaf under the Caucasus, the great Caucasus that circles the world, all the mountains, the Alps, the Trans-Caucasus, the area that we think of as the Caucasus. And the great Caucasus also refers to the Kush, and the Kunlun and the Altai. Right? The great dragon that circles the world underneath, which is the great city of Kaf, Agartha. Kaf, and the one legends, Agartha, and other names. It has other names. So down there. Anyway, I just don't think it's crazy that we've doubted Plato so much. That there's been this attempt to propose first biblical and then age of science dismissal of mythological accounts and mythological frameworks. So I think maybe, you got to consider that not just Plato was speaking from knowledge of these times, but also Pindar, and go look for traces of other comments about, not Atlantis maybe, but other times and all, the legends that may pertain to the rising of the seas or things falling from the sky, and maybe have another look at Wayland Smith, Wallander, Urendel, as Tolkien names the Morning Star. Who is? It's a story of great violence, the story of, Wayland Smith or Wayland Smith, the elf, the dark elf who fell through the sky and became the Morning Star, who is Venus, who scarred Mars and left the Valles Marineris, and which ejected a chunk of something that slammed into Greenland and ended the age of Atlantis. 10,000 years before Plato. Well, the 12,000, as I explained, has to do with human memory. There's much more down there. We don't have time to find it. We have time to try and save the world.